We have a lot to talk about in this video, from another perfect example of Pirate Software yet again lying to Ross, to Pirate Software putting out some more interesting tweets, as well as Pirate addressing this mass review bomb comment that he had talked about in his stream today, to the thing that we're going to be talking about first, because I think this is by far the most serious. Pirate Software just got swatted. And right before we jump into that, this channel has been blowing up, talking about all the drama from this week. I've been doing daily uploads. If you're new here, consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel. It allows me to make content for you guys and do it as quickly as I am. And for all of you that have subscribed over the past week and liked videos, thank you so much. More on that at the end of the video. But now let's jump into Pirate Software getting swatted. Shout out to my Discord member Zoyboy. He's the one that clipped this from today's stream for Pirate Software. This is where we're going to be covering most of what we have before we go to Twitter. But this is kind of where he introduces him getting swatted.
I think the most interesting thing that came out of it is so many different developers actually reached out and were pissed off at me for leaving off-brand because they're like, the trolls win and now they know that they can like cyberbully people into losing their jobs and shit. And I was like, they already could do that. Like that's how they tried to kill me on Tuesday. So yeah. I mean, like, I'm going to be honest with you. I know you have like this big grandstanding narrative that you have to fit to, and oh shit, now they know that they have blood in the water. They swatted me on Tuesday. I don't give a shit what you think. I'm out, dude. Enjoy your initiative. Have fun. I hope the government listens to you and that they give you what you want instead of what you actually asked for, which probably isn't going to happen. In the middle of the stream, about 9 a.m., I got a bunch of phone calls to my phone. They left a bunch of voicemails of shit saying, your time has come, in like a giant screeching voice, and then we got swatted. But at the same time, it's like, I don't give a fuck about your initiative because your people are unhinged. And I realize that's not everybody that's part of that, but I don't give a shit, dude. Like, I'm out. Have fun. Good luck.
So that's a pretty big deal. So just in case some people don't understand, swatting, that is when somebody calls in a threat. So apparently like either a hostage situation that somebody's killed somebody, and they give the address typically of a content creator, usually a live streamer. This will cause the local police department to essentially send in a legitimate SWAT team to clear the place and assess the threat that does not exist. Swatting, in worst case scenarios, will lead to somebody dying. And this swatting that Pirate Software went through genuinely could have ended up with him dying. Like, that is a real thing. It has happened before. And just so we're covering our bases, like here, I've talk shit about Pirate. I don't agree with his point of views. A lot of people that show up to watch these videos don't agree with those point of views. They think he is insufferable, narcissistic, nepo baby. He even goes through a list in this video. To go the extra mile and have a SWAT team show up to somebody's home, like Pirate's, is not okay. Whoever did that, you are legitimately a vile human being. And at this point, if Pirate doesn't want to talk about the initiative ever again, I don't blame the guy. He did tweet about it last night, which was after the swatting, so it seems like he will continue to chat about it, which we'll talk about, but I don't blame him. If you're going to get death threats, yeah, he shouldn't talk about it. If he's fearful for his life because somebody, and again, it's not saying everybody, I'm not saying everybody is doing this, but if somebody, because of this drama, ended up sending a SWAT team to his home, that gives, for me, anybody the right to step away from any situation. I'm not going to hold it against him for never talking about this movement ever again. I will hold it against him if he does talk about it and he misrepresents it or lies about it, or just has a terrible opinion that I feel like I can, talk about. And he's going to talk about it too, but he was receiving tons of death threats as well. None of that's okay. Sending death threats to somebody because they disagree with you about video game preservation, like, just think about that. Say that out loud. That is insane. That is not okay. I don't care if people like show up on my videos or show up on his and are like, hey, you got doo-doo opinions, you suck, you're lame, plus ratio, lick my balls. Like, I don't care about that stuff. That is water off a duck's back. You just have to learn to roll with those punches. But to go the next step and to send death threats and to legitimately act on your anger by physically sending police to somebody's home, not okay. I feel like that should just be common knowledge, but there's always going to be somebody that's going to try to pull something like this. And for anybody that's like, oh, so we're defending Pirate now. No, we're going to be talking about that for the rest of the video, but yeah, you should defend him on this point. It is not okay to swat anybody for any of these reasons that have come out, especially for him disagreeing with the Stop Killing Games initiative. Whether he's misrepresenting it or not, doesn't justify it. But now let's switch gears because I want to talk about proof that Pirate Software once again lied. And this time he was lying directly to Ross, the leader of the Stop Killing Games initiative. Now, admittedly, this is a bit of an oldie, but I didn't see anybody cover it. But this is from his original post that we had talked about, a couple other videos. I'll put the one that I talked about it in up above me. But it's this thread right here. Accursed Farms is replying back. That's Ross saying, I don't have much to add beyond what I said in my video, but saying I never took my videos down is false unless it was done by someone else who manages your channel. The stream where you read my reply and the one prior to that were absolutely deleted from your channel. And so Pirate responds back saying Twitch VODs auto-delete after 60 days. Any stream going over 12 hours of runtime on YouTube is auto-cut off and then deleted at 16 hours of runtime due to their shitty storage system. What you've proposed here is untrue and a deflection from my message. Accursed Farm says, no, I mean the gap of those 2 particular days in between weeks of videos that were not on your YouTube live stream. They were deleted a couple of days after posted. I guess the evidence is deleted now, but I imagine at least a few people could corroborate that. Pirate Software then goes on to show this. Here are all the videos from that time period. As you can see, they all cut off at 11:55, are missing, or show times of 20 plus hours. When streaming over 16 hours, VODs will routine disappear or go into a broken state. He goes on to explain that when they go into that state, there's a black screen. You only see them for a 720p version if they have it. Any video set to 11:55 has deleted all content beyond it. So really hammering home, again, this is how VODs work on YouTube. Completely, I did not delete these. You need to understand. Cursed Farm says, I'm a bit skeptical, but I'll leave it to people who know more about this to say if that would cause a YouTube VOD to be deleted 3 to 5 days after being fully viewable. I distinctly remember the 2 days in question being gone with others being intact around it. Pirate again, this is a triple down now as shown here. This has been known for years about the YouTube VOD issue. And so in this thread, when Pirate initially responded to Accursed, some people started including this clip, and I went ahead and found the actual VOD on his channel just to show you guys, this is directly from it. Here at about 3:37:32, this is him openly admitting to deleting those VODs.
On top of it, I went through the Reddit for their initiative for that, and there were a number of posts in there that were people saying we should keep baiting him and attacking him because if we do that, he'll keep talking about it, then more people will sign the initiative. They were planning that shit. And those threads are still there. They're still up. People are still talking about that shit on there. So instead of that, I just deleted all the VODs where we were talking about it. I kept my videos up and I walked away. They can eat shit.
So you did lie. You did delete those VODs. And let me make it very clear. I'm not upset that he deleted the VODs. He gave reason. There was a bunch of hate on him, people being viscous in the comments, like totally understandable. If you want to delete them, that's okay. My issue is that he said, what you've proposed here is untrue and a deflection from my message. He is so confidently wrong here and tries to make fun of and belittle Accursed Farms for saying what happened. For saying, yes, you deleted those VODs. You're saying no. And you suck for it. I'm actually smarter. Here's all the proof that you need to show that this is just something that happens. And I feel like with truly a near 100% certainty that he just forgot. That he just didn't realize or didn't remember that he deleted those VODs. If you want to think that he was doing this maliciously, that he was just like actively trying to deceive Ross here, you're fine to. I don't think he did. I think he forgot and he just chose to triple down on acting like, yeah, no, for sure. They just delete normally. I didn't do that. And then on top of that, there is a screenshot, allegedly, I guess, because since I'm not on his Discord to confirm this, but this guy shows that Thor hopped on his Discord and then put this out on top of, their conversation with Ross saying that, no, I didn't delete them, saying he actually had no idea how VODs work. And here he is linking the thread. My brother in Christ, you were wrong about it. Thor is making fun of, on his public Discord, Ross for not knowing how VODs work, even though he was correct that Thor actually did delete those VODs. No wonder the internet is just completely through with this guy because he will be so confidently wrong, literally mocking the people that are saying the actual truth of the matter, and odds are he's not going to walk this back. But moving on from this, back to the clip that I was showing you guys earlier, he also talks about the mass review bombing of the off-brand games and gives us a bit more clarity as to what he was talking about when he said that.
You talk more about the review bombs? Some people are confused about what took place. Yeah, so basically people started going on social media and trying to say that the reason why I was against the SKG initiative is because I had a commanding stake or was making a lot of money off of Rivals of Either, which is a live service game that has microtransactions. In reality, I was paid minimum wage, federal minimum wage, to work on that game. But after they started doing that, people started to review bomb the game. They put negative reviews on it. However, Ludwig then put out a tweet saying it's really unfair that people are review bombing this game, and they do support, the developers do support the SKG initiative. Smart thing to do. Immediately, those review bombs turned into a positive review bomb as a result. But they were going after those games specifically because of me and using that as a reason to go after them.
I have actually, I just checked that I didn't close Microsoft Paint down last night, so I actually have the 4 that I showed on stream if you'd like them.
I mean, it's just 4. They'll be like, that was only 4. Like, I understand how the internet works. No matter what evidence is provided at this point, no one gives a shit.
I literally just went onto the reviews for Rather Later 2, sorted by most recent and then negative, and it was like in the top 10, these were just the first 4 I found in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, there's still more that are there. Some people didn't change the reviews and shit, and they directly call out me. And so, because of that, I had a meeting with Ludwig, and I was like, the best way to handle this is that I leave.
So let's start off. Let's give him a little bit of grace. Working minimum wage as the, strategic director of Operand Games. Good for him, honestly. But now, the review bomb. So they said there were a bunch of, negative reviews from Steam. From what I've heard from my comments just yesterday talking about all of this, and again, you can check out that video. I go fully in detail. It's completely timestamped so you guys can see the actual viewing of the negative reviews, that being literally nothing out of the ordinary, and like genuinely maybe 30 in total across all 3 games. He apparently says that those were switched to positive reviews, which, okay, great. You called this a massive review bomb. There are millions of people that are tuning in to hear about this drama and talk about what is going on. And you're telling me that from their own words, they saw 4. They're never giving a number. They're never giving a number about how many negative reviews there are because people went ahead and looked. And now here, Pirate is directly talking about the Steam page, and some people were saying, well, maybe they were review bombing on other platforms, things like that. Well, they're directly talking about the Steam page. I don't know about you guys. Maybe, I guess, he has a viciously different understanding or a different definition for what a mass review bomb is. But for me, it's not 4, it's not 10, it's not even like 30 across 3 separate games. And I'm being very generous with saying about 30. A mass review bombing is like what Helldivers went through, where there were tens of thousands of them. And I made the argument that he was misrepresenting the situation, that he was being untrue about the actual situation at stake when he's talking about this massive review bomb. People hear that, huge buzzword. That means a lot of people are being negative about it. No, a high school classroom of people left negative reviews. And from what I understand, people went in and checked them. Most of those negative reviews are talking about the video game. As a matter of fact, Steam will remove reviews that you put. I spoke with a few game developers. They will remove reviews that are not talking about the video game, and you can actually contact them and request to remove them and show why that they should be removed. And I hate to admit this, but I agree with Pirate. He should be stepping down from a game publishing company if he is a strategic director of said publishing company, if he is entirely against an initiative that is supporting consumer rights and the preservation of video games. He's spot on. That is a terrible look for a game company. He shouldn't be anywhere near it. Would you be more willing to purchase a game knowing that one of the head honchos is completely against this, that is completely against the idea of having a conversation about consumer rights? Probably not. Now, to close out on this clip that I'm showing you guys, he talks about Ross's video about the end of Stop Killing Games. When he was like down and out, he was doing a last-ditch effort, which thankfully has worked. Again, links in description for the petitions. We still need more signatures. We hit our goal, but we want to make sure that there aren't botted signatures, things like that. So please go ahead. If you know people, educate, let them know, get signatures. But he yet again misrepresents something coming from Ross, that being this video where he's saying that he spent that entire 33 minutes shitting on Pirate Software.
A statement came out yesterday not to public, not to harass. Or why was that not part of the half-an-hour long video?
Yeah, the hour-long video with 33 minutes of it trying to say that I was a piece of shit. Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, so on Tuesday I got swatted. I've gotten constant calls to my cell phone. I've had tens of thousands of death threats a day, including to the moderators and the rest of the team. People called the county trying to say that our rescue is an animal horde, so we had to deal with that. I've been called a pedophile, a zoophile, a rapist, a corporate plant, a degenerate, a narcissist, a nepo baby, and many other names. And they also went after every job I ever held, trying to say I never worked there. And then when they found out I did, they tried to say I didn't deserve them.
Okay, first off, we know you worked at Blizzard for 7 years. Trust me, everybody knows. But joking aside, his assessment of the video that Ross made about it being 33 minutes of just absolutely shitting on Pirate is just factually wrong. What he's talking about, he said, yeah, he compiled all of the times that I was being shitty, that I was being rude to him, which he apologized. He feels bad for being mean. And he compiled all of these into about a 15-second clip, which I'll show you now.
So this was my first encounter of him.
Oh shit, now this is actually really dumb. It's used car salesman garbage. This is shit. It's shit. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to. That is awful. That is a horrible goddamn direction. That's awful, dude. No. Eat my entire ass. That the level of stupid that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. This shit sucks. That's a really stupid ass move. That's an incredibly stupid ass move. I think this is ass. This is complete garbage. All of this can eat shit then. I drop the mask entirely. I have no qualms about that. They can eat my entire ass. The whole thing. That sounds stupid as shit.
Oh, yeah. I can see why people like him.
All right, I was wrong. That clip was just short of a minute, so not 15 seconds. I completely blew it there. I'm sorry. Take notes, Thor. Now, outside of addressing Pirate saying things like this, he brings up a few other instances of Pirate disagreeing with him, also just showing his points of disagreeing with him where he gets things wrong. Outside of that, he takes these 33 minutes that Pirate is calling just shitting on him to completely point by point talk about the Stop Killing Games initiative and how Pirate has misrepresented it and that he's frustrated that that's caused an impact to the Stop Killing Games initiative. I'm not going to go over it point by point. I will leave a link to his video in the description. Jump to about 33 minutes. It's timestamped and you can watch him and you can decide, is he being a dick about it? Is he being rude to Pirate Software, going over point by point and just explaining the Stop Killing Games initiative again and again? If this happened to me, if I got something this wrong and then someone spent half an hour the way that Ross did, I'd thank him because this is the kindest way that he called out Pirate Software. 95% of the time spent in this is just him going through your points. But yeah, the guy's frustrated. You were also rude to him. Like, duh, he's gonna be a little upset back, which is why he included that minute of what Pirate has said. It's just, again, Pirate misrepresenting very clearly, and I'm not gonna speak on the intention of it, but maybe he feels like that was all an attack to him. I know plenty of people that are pretty immature, and if I try to have a conversation with them and disagree with them on a point, they take it personally, and it just seems like Pirate's kind of doing the same. I'm not gonna go for him maliciously misconstruing it or anything. It could just be he's being really immature about it, and that's fine. He's just wrong, so we're gonna talk about it. But now to close this video off, let's jump into his most recent tweets that came out about yesterday now. Pirate Software drops this absolute banging tweet that's gonna shift the tides of understanding of this. He says, the most interesting narrative is that my videos somehow killed the initiative. This graph shows that the initiative already had a downward trend in interest when my videos dropped. My videos do not seem to have had any impact on the movement at all. Making me the villain did though. Best of luck with your next steps. And so he shows this, and you can see the daily signature amount over time here, which is showing a negative downward trend. You can see where Pirate put out his video. Now, I was up at 2 a.m. last night, saw this come out, was chatting with a few people, and I was like, hey, let me figure out where I can find this graph, because I want to see the exact day of when Pirate dropped his video. So I ended up finding a website to show me the initial performance of his first video, Stop Killing Games. It came out on August 6th. And you can see here that in those first, let's do 14 days here. Those first 14 days, or 15 days here, 902,000 views. So that goes from August 6th to August 20th. Okay, so I then found a chart to help me see the average view signatures, so the cumulative signatures and the daily signature change for the Stop Killing Games initiative. And it's hard to see, but this here is August 5th and August 6th here. August 6th, you can see here, so the 5th, the day before it, it jumps up 23,000 signatures a day. And then August 6th hits, and then you can see a downward trend. And you can see it leading down, and then even if we go out, those 15 days or even 10 days here, we can see it goes down to 3,000 a day. So using this graph, I could make the argument that, yeah, after Pirate posted his video, we see it go from 23,000 the day before to 14,000. And it stays going on that downward trend from when he put out his video. Now, I feel like that's just kind of being a bit petty because, like, realistically, you can't really draw that kind of correlation with a graph like that. It's easy to, but with a movement this big, it's hard to make sense of those factors. But after Pirate put out his video, a lot of people, including myself initially, because I wasn't super deep into this, I was covering Mr. B stuff, kind of just stopped taking interest in it because there was conflicting views on it. And at that point, even if it's like 50-50 or there's a lot of that friction, I'm not going to do the research, and I think most people aren't going to do the research, and Pirate was very well liked at this point. People are going to stop kind of looking into it. There were a lot of people that were, disagreeing with him, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but even with just that bit of friction, it was enough to completely have me lose interest in looking into the movement. So I didn't even cover it at the time. And I just don't believe it's a stretch to believe that Pirate Software had a pretty sizable impact on the Stop Killing Games initiative. Admittedly, I'm getting a bit theoretical here. I think Pirate's kind of doing the same, but I'm just not buying that this is just proof that he didn't have an impact on it. And for the icing on top of this turd cake, he ends up also replying to it and saying, and for those that don't understand why I put out the videos in the first place, you might want to give this a read. So this is a blog from Daniel. I'm not too sure who Daniel is, admittedly, and he's pretty much breaking down why the Stop Killing Games initiative sucks. And admittedly, I haven't fully read through this yet. I'll probably do more, might do a stream covering it. But when I was glancing over it again, like 2 a.m. last night before I'm heading to bed, I ran into seeing this free to play the cherry on top. I'm gonna just read you a few parts of this here. The fact that the movement also wants to extend itself to free to play games is also egregious. People do not pay for these games, and microtransactions do not constitute ownership of some license to own the game in perpetuity. And he talks about the EU Consumer Protection Cooperation Network. It's already published principles requiring clear and transparent pricing. This is something that was happening a few months ago, not really relevant to what we're talking about here. And then he finishes it off with, but SKG wants to extend preservation requirements to games people got for free. The entitlement is staggering. In typical pirate fashion, this is misrepresenting what the initiative is asking for. Now, he does touch on it a little bit. I'll give him credit. He does talk about the microtransactions do not mean that you have a license to the game in perpetuity, but that's what the fact kind of explains. In the FAQ, isn't it unreasonable to ask this of free-to-play games? The answer is, while free-to-play games are free for users to try, they're supported by microtransactions, which customers spend money on. When a publisher ends a free-to-play game without providing any recourse to the players, they are effectively robbing those that bought features for the game. Hence, they should be accountable to making the game playable in some fashion once support ends. Our proposed regulations would have no impact on non-commercial games that are 100% free, however. So right off the bat, no, it is not asking this for entirely free-to-play games, but to talk about microtransactions, you have purchased a good, and to take away that good at the end of it isn't okay. And Daniel's right. You know, you don't actually, as of right now, when you buy microtransactions, you don't have a license to play that game in perpetuity. But the initiative doesn't like that. And they think that if you're able to purchase in-game goods, you should still be entitled to use those and not have that good taken away from you. Similar to the fact that if you purchase a video game, you should not have that video game taken away from you because the developers are just done supporting it. I think that's reasonable. Matter of fact, it's getting the foot in the door. So there could be more conversations about this if you disagree with it. But Pirate Software is not interested in having this discussion with Ross. So maybe I guess there is no wiggle room there. Maybe we're just gonna have to figure that out when it does, you know, go forward. Hopefully as long as we get enough signatures. So I guess to close this out, it's frustrating because Pirate is quickly turning to, and it to some degree, I don't blame him because of the death threats and the swatting, that people hate him because of who he is, rather than his inability to walk back misrepresentations or just straight up lying about things. He's got too much of an ego to ever walk those things back. And I'm just kind of mind blown that I get to make a video today talking about all of these things, where even in a tweet where, you know, I guess people smarter than me that can look at graphs and understand that better could say, yeah, there actually wasn't a change and we could have a discussion about that. But to follow that tweet up with an article that even just from a skim is misrepresenting a point of the initiative, I'm baffled. Like, why don't you check that? Or why isn't he able to move past the perspective that he's had, which has been point for point debunked or clarified, why he can't just take some of it in and change a little bit? But we already know that answer. He doesn't want to. He's dug in. He's not interested. And in tandem with this swatting and the death threats that he's receiving, his victim complex about this entire thing has just been completely vindicated for him. Honestly, it makes this easier and easier to make another video about it because over time he just seems to lie or be wrong more and more clearly. Like, I didn't have to do much digging to find a lot of this. I'll also credit, you know, the guy who made the clip showcasing a lot of what we talked about, but it's just everywhere now. It's just, he's getting so messy about it. But that's going to close out me talking about Pirate and what we discussed about today in the drama. I want to chat a little bit because I just reached 50,000 subs at the time of recording this. And I just wanted to say thank you again because it means the world to me. Every single one of you that have subscribed, everyone that's joined the Discord, just supported me in the endeavor of making videos for you guys. Thank you so much. I've been stuck at 44,000 subs for, I don't know, 6 8 months at this point. It was really feeling like a one-hit wonder, and I was able to learn a lot at a recent VidCon, meet a lot of great people that have helped me, and to see you guys all coming out to watch this and listen to what I have to say as opposed to any other YouTuber. I know I say it a lot, but I wouldn't be able to do this. And if you're here at the end of the video and you haven't subscribed or you haven't liked the video, like, just thank you for being here. Thank you for watching the video, for spending your valuable time on one of my videos. My goal for the end of this year was to hit 50K because that's how far away it seemed. You know, I'm now gonna set that goal for 60 and see how close we can get to that. But yeah, Soppy diatribe at the end done. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to give a like, consider subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next video. See you later. Peace. Bye.